All right, we'll go on in this video to talk about Chapter 5, Section 2, which is solving linear equations by substitution. And if you followed the video from Section 1, we've already done some examples of that. When is substitution helpful? When you have either the x or the y equation by itself. In number 9, we can do either one. So if we were to take this definition of x and replace it in the second equation, we would end up with an equation that looks like y is equal to 17 minus 4y and then minus 2. Simplifying first. Combining like terms, we'd get 15 minus 4y. Then all we have to do is collect our y's on the same side, and we get 5y is equal to 15, or y is equal to 3. Then we're going to take that 3, substitute it into either equation. Let's go back to the first equation. If x is equal to 17 minus 4 times y, which is 3, we get x is equal to 17 minus 12, x is equal to 5. So we have the apparent solution 5, 1. Then, what are we going to do? We still have to check. We're going to check in the next equation. So if 1, is that equal to, and I apologize, it is not 5, 1. I just said y is equal to 3. So, all right, so again, that's why checking is so helpful. When you check, you find your mistakes. We all make mistakes. So I need to say that y is equal to x minus 2, so 3 is equal to 5 minus 2, and that is correct, so it checks out. In the next equation, y, both of them are equal to y, so in this case it would be the same as really just setting the two equations equal to each other. When we do, we get that type of equation that has x on both sides. We're simply going to add 3x to both sides. When we do, we get 9x minus 9 is 0. Add 9 to both sides, and we get 9x is equal to 9. 9 times what is 9? 9 times 1 is 9. We take that x value, plug it into either equation. Let's use the top. The 6 times 1 minus 9 has to equal y. So 6 minus 9 is y. That means y is negative 3. Apparently then we have the solution. X is 1, y is negative 3. We're going to check by plugging into the bottom equation. Does negative 3, which is y, equal negative 3 times 1? It does, and we're good to go. We'll scroll down and look at the next two. All right, so here in the first equation, note that we don't have a y value. We can simply solve that for x. So if 2x is equal to 12, then we know that x has to equal 6. We plug that into the second equation. 6 minus 5y is negative 29. Negative 5y, rather we can get rid of that negative 6 by subtracting it from both sides, leaving negative 5y is equal to negative 35, dividing by negative 5, and we get y is equal to 7. Now since y is equal to 7, we have to plug that in. We can't go back to the first equation here because there is no y. So we have the equation x minus 5y is equal to negative 29. So x minus 5 times 7 is negative 29. X minus 35 is negative 29. Adding 35, adding 35. actually, in this case. We've already solved for x and for y. And so what I'm going to get here, obviously, is x is equal to 6. What I should have done is taken my x value, 6, my y value, 7, and plugged it in. 6 minus 5 times 7. Does that equal negative 29? Well, 6 minus 35 is negative 29, and that checks. Either way, but it was uh, the answers checked out correctly. Number 14. All right, so in this case, we're going to need to solve one of the equations. I might just as easily add 9 to both sides here to get the equation or the solution x is equal to 8. Once I do that, I can plug that x value into the first equation. 2 times 8 minus y is 23. 16 minus y is 23, and subtract 16, and I get negative y is equal to 7, or y is equal to negative 7. Now I have the 2. I have to plug them into the first equation since that's the only one that has both x and y. 2 times 8 minus negative 7. Does that equal 23? We get 16 plus 7. Indeed, it equals 23, and we're good there. So the solution on the second one, on the first equation, number 13 here, was 6, 7, and on the second equation, or the second system of equations, was 8, negative 7. Okay, then we're going to do 4 word problems in this section, so we'll step through them quickly since you have seen them before. A farmer plants corn and wheat on a 180-acre farm. The farmer wants to plant 3 times as many acres of corn as wheat. Write a system of linear equations that represents this situation. How many acres of each crop should the farmer plant? So x is acres of corn. Y is acres of wheat. Those are the two things we're trying to figure out. First thing we know, together, x plus y has to equal 180. Second thing we know that we want 3 times as many acres of corn as wheat. And what I usually do here is I set up an x and y. Now, are they equal to each other? We know they're not equal. Which one is greater? X is the corn. The corn is 3 times what the wheat is. So to make these two sides equal to each other, we say that the corn is triple the wheat. So we have to multiply the wheat by 3 in order for the two sides of this equation to be the same. Now all we need to do with this, replace the x in the first equation with 3y plus y is 180. 4y is 180. Dividing by 4, we get y is equal to 35 acres. That's the wheat. Now we know that x is 3 times y. So therefore x has to be 135 acres. And we can check to see that together we have 135 plus 35. That's a total of 180 acres. And we know that 135 is 3 times 35, and so we check out both ways. All right, with the next word problem, a company that offers tubing trips down a river rents tube for a person to use and cooler tubes to carry food and water. So we'll call X the number of one-person tubes. Y will be the number of cooler tubes, not the cost. We know the cost already. So a group spends $270 to rent a total of 15 tubes. So we know that X plus Y has to equal 15. Second, we know that the number of person tubes, which is X, times 20, the cost per person tube, plus 1250, the cost per cooler tube, times the number of cooler tubes, has to come out to be $270. So we can solve the first equation for y by subtracting x. We get y is negative x plus 15 if I wanted to use the substitution method here. And then I have the equation 20x plus 1250 times negative x plus 15 has to equal 270. 20x minus 12.5x plus 15 times 12.5 is $187.50. That has to equal 270. We're going to combine like terms first. So 20x minus 12.5x is 7.5x plus 187.50 is 270. Subtracting 187.50 on both sides is going to give us 7.5x is equal to 82.5. Dividing by 7.5, then we get exactly x is equal to 11. So there would be 11 cooler tubes, and if there are a total of 15 tubes, that would mean there would have to be 11 person tubes. And we check by saying 11 times 20, 10 times 1 is 200, that would be $220, plus 4 times 1250, right, 4 times 1250, 2 times 1250 is 25, so 4 times 1250 would be 50, we have it right, and that does equal $270, right? We'll go on. Next, a math test is worth 100 points and has 38 problems. Each problem is worth 5 points or 2 points. So we'll let X be number of 5-point problems, Y be the number of 2 points. So the first one should be 5. All right, so what do we know? There are 38 problems. X plus Y is equal to 38. Second thing we know is that 5, the number of points for each 5-point problem, times X, the number of 5-point questions, plus 2Y, the total has to come out to be 100, right? So I am going to, this time I'm going to use a substitute, we're on the using the substitution method here. Y is equal to negative x plus 38, substituting f5x plus 2 times negative x plus 38 is equal to 100. 5x minus 2x, 2 times 38 is 76, is equal to 100. Combine like terms first. 76, so 100 subtracting 76, we get 3x is equal to 24, so x is equal to 8. Now, if x is equal to 8, then x plus y has to be 38, so y is going to be 30. And let's just check to make sure this works. 5 times 8 plus 2 times 30, does that equal 100? 5 times 8 is 40, 2 times 30 is 60, and that does indeed equal 100. Last problem in this set, an investor owns shares of stock A and B. We're going to call X the number of shares in A, Y the number of shares in B. He owns a total of 200 shares. X plus Y is 200, and if the shares of stock A are worth $9.50 and the shares of stock B 27 times Y, the total value has to be $4,000. We first solve the first equation for Y, substitute in the second, distribute, combine like terms, subtract 5,400 from both sides. We get X is 80, so Y is 120. We check